please. Well, on Thursday was Ascension Day, and we had that wonderful reading today from the book of Revelations, and with Anglicans generally not having a whole lot of familiarity, say, with book of Revelations, it's one of those texts we very often sort of avoid a bit. We maybe wouldn't know that that part today, that is the very ending of Revelation. So that's where the Bible ends. And I want to talk a little bit about where the Bible ends and where the Bible starts. And in the translation we use, there's a couple of words that have been added in that are kind of questionable. And the reason they've done that is because the direct Greek translation is a bit awkward. But a literal translation of the Greek ending is peace and grace to all. So that's how the Bible ends. Grace to all. Do you notice it doesn't pick and choose which people? Just wide open, grace to all. Do you remember how the Bible starts? Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, verse 2 is, in the beginning, when creation was happening, all was chaos, darkness, and void. And then God intervened, and what came out of that was beauty and wonder and order and light. The Bible begins with light and creation and wonder, and the Bible ends with grace and peace to all. Now, some of the time, what's in between those two parts has gotten us into some degree of trouble, especially in terms of what some people have done with it and how it has been interpreted. And I think that we do have within Christianity, within the church, something of a branding problem or PR problem. The contemporary name is word is branding, but a PR problem. There's an American author, his name is Marcus Borg. We have done some of his books on occasion for Lenten studies. And in his book, The Heart of Christianity, so he was a university professor. And over the course of years, he noticed when he had his students writing about Christianity, the church, there were consistently 5 adjectives that over the decades always showed up. This is not easy news for us, okay? Here are the 5 adjectives: literalistic, anti-intellectual, self-righteous, judgmental, and bigoted. I'm sure that's not how we see ourselves, but we've got to understand that's the impressions out there. There's another American author, she was also a university professor, and she did a similar exercise, and in her extended university career, she would on occasion have young people write a paper about what are the things that most frighten them, what are they most afraid of in life. And it was another shocking response to her essays over the years. 40% of the essays that she has collected back through the years, what are young people most afraid of? Christians. So we clearly have a branding problem in people's impressions of who and what church is, and who and what Christians are, and who and what we are about. What we are about is light and grace. But that's not necessarily what our culture thinks. And we are living in a particularly interesting time in history. I don't know if you've sort of sat and thought about this, but in our era is the first time in 1,500 years, the first time that Christianity has not been in the place of a foundational pillar of our society. And so it seems to me that we have a job to do in terms of spreading the word of what are we about? That what we are actually about is love and the example of Jesus and following Jesus. We are about light and love and peace and grace. That's what we are a people of in getting out there into the world. Did you notice in that gospel text, Jesus, it's part of his priestly prayer, the night that Monday, Thursday night before he's arrested, and he's talking about bringing people together that they may be one, and unity and harmony. There is so much divisiveness in our world. There's so much divisiveness and polarization in our country, too. In terms of parts of our country, the whole thing may just, looks like it's on the verge of breaking up, perhaps. We need to think about trying to bring people together. And so what these texts cause me to reflect on, and this idea of the ascension, is what is the faith that I put out there into the world in terms of witnessing Christian faith? Is what I put out there into the world, is it about light and love and peace and grace? Or is it about judgment and bigotry and all that sort of thing? And there are some nuances and some paradoxes to this as well. And that is, there are some things that I am unwaveringly intolerant of, as a matter of fact, and there are some things about which I am proudly bigoted. Here's what they are. I will never say that meanness is okay, or that cruelty is okay. I will never say that treating other people badly or rudely or disrespectfully or dismissively or belittlingly is okay, because it's not. You see, the Christian witness, the Christian message is about how enriching it is in life when we can live as a loving person, when we can spread love energy out into the world, not judgment and exclusion, like all of this other stuff that seems to be the way of our world, assessing, pecking orders and who can benefit me personally, and all of these sorts of games that people play in relationships. Rather, what is it that I put out into the world? Is it love? Is it light and grace and peace? Am I consistent with where the Christian message begins and where the Christian message ends, of moving into wherever I might find chaos and darkness and void? Can I go into those spaces and bring the light of Christ? Because I have seen it. I have seen it in hospital rooms. I have seen it with grief. I have seen it in tragedy, that when God is a part of a messy situation, how it transitions, it transforms, it transfigures. Those situations become something else. This is perhaps a risky thing to say. I will distinguish it this way. I have been at what I would describe as beautiful deaths. I have. Surrounded by family, light, and beauty in the room. I have witnessed and seen that. And I have seen some others too, mind you. Light and grace and peace and love, that's what we are about. And I think that we need to stop being so quiet. We Anglicans are very courteous, and we never want to, sort of rub people the wrong way or be, rude or loud or anything like that. We're very reserved and courteous people. But maybe this is something we need to get more loud about, is saying that Christianity is not, have you seen those bumper stickers that, I understand when there's that Marcus Borg impression, I understand where that all comes from. Have you seen that bumper sticker about, what is it? Friends don't let friends go to hell. Oh dear. That's what people think we're about. That's not what we're about. We are about light and love and peace and grace. And that's what we need to project out into the world, that's what we want in the world, that's what we believe should be the foundation to our world. Not mean-spiritedness, not judgmentalism, not valuing people and assessing people based on what can they do for me, what benefit can they bring to my life, how can they advantage me. No, none of that. We follow a Jesus who stooped down and washed his disciples' feet. We follow a Jesus who we say is Lord, who we say is the most perfect revelation of the heart of God, the will of God, the Spirit of God, the mind of God. We follow a Jesus who refused to condemn a woman who was caught in adultery. We follow a Jesus who refused to play along with all the rules and broke taboos, whether they were taboos of ethnicity, taboos with all sorts of different people. We follow a Jesus who, in his last moments on the cross, beside a criminal, said to that criminal, "You too will be with me in paradise this day." That's the Jesus we follow. That's not about judgment and who's in and who's out and people of value and people of no. It's not about any of that. It's about where the Bible begins, where the Bible ends. Light and beauty and wonder and order and grace and peace and love. That's who and what we are as Christians. But we need to start telling people that. Amen.